What's up, world? My name is Corey. Stay trapping with Trap Talks, where we discuss the intersection of culture and tech. And today I got the guest Khalil Vinson. Did I pronounce that last name correct?
Yeah, Vincent, you
Cool.
good? You
Yeah.
good, man?
Cool. He's the founder and CEO of Tech Fest Live, which empowers the youth to get involved in technology and just expanding horizon, looking at technology, healthcare, agriculture, all that good stuff. He's actually was I'm gonna go through your LinkedIn here. Former sales executive at BizMetric, former manager, training, rental representative at Penske Truck Leasing, and served as a youth development leader at the YMCA in Austin. Which I think, if I'm not mistaken, did that inspire you to go and do what you're doing now with the youth development leader?
Yeah, yeah. It was definitely it definitely showed me that I had done things in my past that could aid me in where I'm at now. Definitely some of those jobs you named where I just doing what I needed to do to continue climbing kind of like the corporate ladder at the time, and then I just kind of branched off and decided to start Tech Fest Live, and we're here now and making some strides and starting to really scale the organization.
Cool. Yeah, man. So I got to tell you, when I first moved here, man, from the Bay, I was thinking that most of the music I was going to hear was chopped and screwed, and I was like surprised. Like I was like, oh, they don't play chopped and screwed like that
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
What was it? What was it like? Growing up in Houston, and did you grow up during the chopped and screwed era too?
Yeah, so for me, growing up in Houston, well, one, Houston is a huge metropolitan area, so you can be in so many different places. You're gonna say you're in Houston, but you can be in so many different areas. And so for me, I was born in St. Louis, so I moved to Houston when I was 6. I might have missed, because I was younger, I might have missed some of that area. It was definitely here, and it was prevalent, but I might have not been as hip to it just because I was 6 when I moved here, and then growing up, I might not have been as accustomed to it. Like my favorite artist is Jay-Z, so that's who I'm rolling with. But I definitely have a deep appreciation for the Third Coast and what Houston culture means, not only to this city but to the world. You got chop and screw music in Florida. It's in California. They do it's all over. So I mean, there's no question that the Houston culture has a staple on a national and worldwide culture, and it's just been beautiful to like grow up in it. Kind of like, I wouldn't say from a distance, but grow up in it and appreciate it as I got older.
Got it. Yeah. So you mentioned Jay-Z as like one person, like your favorite rapper. In what ways does somebody like Jay-Z inspire you?
The inspiration really comes from like the business mindset, and also the discernment and the wisdom to know that your current situation is not where you're going to end up at. He did what he had to do as far as being in the streets, hustling, and he took care of what he needed to take care of, and he got out. He's not his age right now, still trying to rap about that lifestyle, still trying to promote that lifestyle. Like he gave us an album like 444, which was speaking on his past mistakes and then speaking on where he thinks we should be taking the culture now. Jay-Z's my favorite rapper, but I'm not taking everything Jay-Z says to heart, and so like I pull certain things out from him and his CEO mindset, and how he, like, one of his songs, he's like, I'm CEO's mind, that marketing plan was me. Like I resonate with that. Like, yeah, like I am doing my own marketing plan. Like, yeah, that's what I'm on. So just different things like that. Just knowing how to work the industry, knowing how to work the room, not being afraid to partner and do different brand deals and create your own company with, like he did with Rockaware and all that stuff. So yeah, I definitely take some tidbits and some advice and tips from him through his music for sure.
Yeah. You said you know how to work a room. And I seen you in action. Like we were supposed to be talking at a cup of Joey, and then you was like, "Hey man, my apologies." And I'm like, "Look, man, that's network. You gotta do your thing." So why are you so good, and how did you get so good at working the room and networking?
I would say it's just a confidence thing, man. I've always been confident, but as you know this because you're about episode 16, am I correct? Just
Yeah,
about.
yeah,
Yeah. So like
and yeah,
you have done this multiple times, and as each time that you do it, you get better at it. So now when you interviewed me and said, "Hey, could you come on the show?" We asked some questions and stuff. Like you weren't thinking about it. So really, I'm at a place where I'm not thinking when I'm talking. I'm just acting. And sometimes, when you're in a position where you meet someone and you're thinking about what you're going to tell them, you're thinking about what you're going to say instead of just letting it flow. People can tell that kind of I won't call it disconnect, but they can tell that they can just tell you're not as confident as you would as how I am now. So definitely didn't start like this. It took me some time to like build up that confidence and know that I have a product that I believe in. I support it. I feel like it's the best thing out there, and then I've been able to get that kind of backed and supported by credible sources in the Houston area, credible sources outside of Houston. And so all of that combination of all of that allows me to just speak like confidently. And I go in the room and I'm like, yeah, like we're here. Like, let's talk. I'm Khalil. Like, what do you do? Okay, this is what I do. And I would say that's the biggest thing. Like, for anybody growing a business, working for a corporation, whatever you're doing, is really just having the confidence, which comes with knowing your information, knowing your stuff, and then once you have that backing, it's just a conversation how me and you were talking. Like it's not like I'm sitting here like, okay, what should I say so this person can? No, it's just like, okay, read and react.
right, right.
Yeah.
So if someone has low confidence, right? How does someone go to having low confidence to like high confidence and just living in that state of being, right, and just free flowing? Like how does one go to build their high confidence?
I would say a few ways. Not everyone wants to be front and center. Not everyone is a extrovert. Some people are introverts, right? Some people don't really like, they handle their business well. They're great employees, great business owners, but they just don't necessarily like to be out in the public like that. So if that is you, I would say try to go to different events where not necessarily you're forced to speak to people, but like just get out of your comfort zone. That was the first thing for me. It's funny. There's a video of me like doing this like promotional announcement for TechFest Live, and in the video I do this like kind of skit thing where I'm like, hey, we're the TechFest team. I did not want to do that at all. Like it wasn't like I wanted to play the background when I first started this. I was like, okay, I'll let one of the other former individuals who was working with TechFest Live. I'll let them play the front piece, and I'll be in the background in the shadows, kind of pulling the strings. And then I realized you're not going to build anything if you think you're going to be the founder of an organization. You're going to play the background, and there's no traction, there's no stability. You don't even have any sponsors. Like, bro, you're going to have to get out there and so it was almost for me. It was almost I was forced to grow my skill set in wanting to talk to people, but I don't have a problem with it. I would also say information. I can't go out to a networking event or go to a meeting and don't have my facts straight, right? Don't have my information down. Don't know, how many students have we served? What's our mission? Do I know my product? Do I know what I'm putting to the table? Like also having that confidence in yourself and saying, I know exactly what I'm doing. I know my mission. I know my purpose. I know why we want to do this. I know what we want to accomplish in the next 3 years. Like just having those metrics and strategic alignment is also going to help with your confidence because you know the answer. There's probably 10 questions that may be asked, but you're going to ask me a ton of questions, and I'm very confident right now because I'm pretty sure I know the answers to the questions, which without you even telling me, hey, this is what I'm going to ask you. And so yeah, just know your stuff, know your information, and honestly, man, just believe in yourself. I feel like right now we got to believe in ourselves. Like everybody, like it's a lot tearing us down from a cultural standpoint. from a male perspective. Females, there's a lot of things tearing females down, and then splitting everyone up, from the core. And so how do we like just continue to believe in ourselves and know that we have everything it takes to be that person that you want to be. If you want to be, that doctor or that technician or that lawyer or whatever it might be, you might want to, rescue dogs, but just be confident in your purpose and your ability and what God has placed in your life to be able to do. And that's where I find strength in gaining my confidence for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Me and you never talked about this, but one thing I'm noticing is that you seem to have like a high self-awareness, right? Like, where did that come from?
Man, it's a combination of a lot of. It's just my life. Like I don't even know. Like I really don't even know. And that sounds crazy. Like, but it really is just a combination of experiences and things that I've been through, things that I've seen or noticed, people that I've come across, people that I've had conversations with. Like everything. Like the person I am, just sitting here right now, 119 on May 21st. It's just a combination of multiple instances of experiences. So there's not one or two or five things that I can pinpoint to say this is why I might have a good emotional intelligence or I'm self-aware. I've just gone through things like everyone else has, and they've shaped me to be this current state right now. Maybe one of the books my girlfriend gave me called The Secrets. I don't know if you heard of The Secrets.
I've heard of that, yeah.
I read that. I wouldn't give that all the credit, but I mean, it definitely talks about being self-aware and manifestation and things like that. But just, I don't know, man. You just got to go through it. Like, and I'm entering an inflection point with my business, and I'm scaling. So I don't at all have all the answers, but I have gone through a few things and experiences on this journey of being an entrepreneur that has kind of allowed me to be self-reflective. I'm not a big what do they call it? Astrology guy. I do know my sign. I am a Capricorn. I do know Capricorns are deemed as we're deemed as bosses. Like we hold it down, and we're very analytical and strategic. That might have something to do with it as well. But no, it's just Khalil. It's just Khalil.
Yeah. That's great, man. And also, what I'm hearing too is that you're very curious. Like you're eager to learn, and like you take feedback and then you put it in action. Like I can just tell you, I can just attest, like that's just very important. You know what I'm saying? Always be learning and understanding that you don't know the answer, but knowing that you're going to get to that answer.
Yeah,
right?
Man. Like just really quick, great point, because I had a board meeting last Saturday, and my chairman called me and was like, "Hey, like I just wanted to tell you, like you're going to be a great CEO one day." And he was telling me why, and he said because you don't try to act like you know the answer. So I handpicked 3 board members to be a part. I have one chairman, 2 co-chairwomen, and I picked them because they're good at what they're doing. I'm not good at some of those things. Like he was like, your strengths and weaknesses. I didn't always know that, and there's still a lot of things for me to discover. But like the key right now for my success, and I think success moving forward, is knowing your strengths and weaknesses and getting out the way. Like there's a lot of instances in this organization that I'm building where I could get in the way of that. Either my pride, my ego, my lack of not knowing something, or my lack of information. And if I didn't have the thought process to be like, okay, my chairman knows this side of the business. I'm not going to interject when he's talking and try to give my 2 cents, and my 2 cents ain't even worth a penny. Like I'm just not going to do that. Or when we're talking about risk and liability, that's not my area of focus. Like I'm running sponsorships. I'm the visionary person. So I do have an awareness to know what I'm good at and what I'm not good at. And you got to allow people. And that's probably the hardest thing is when you create something, you want to hold on to it. It's your baby. Like you want to nurture it. You want to take care of it. You don't want no one else to come in and put their ideas because that's your thing. That's your stuff, and you created it. But a leader, and I'm working on this to become a better leader. A leader knows how to delegate, and that's what's really separated and allowed me to kind of have this the sense of maturity, or emotional awareness, or whatever you want to call it, is because I know now how to delegate and pass off tasks that it's not going to get done efficiently if Khalil sits here and tries to do it. It may take me a week, where it can take one of my board members 2 days to do it. And so, yeah, that's what I would, and I feel like I was rambling. Don't even remember your full question, but that is a part of it as well, for sure.
Yeah. So it sounds like you did like a self analysis or whatever, and this is why I was saying like I can be very perceptive in your self awareness, because I have that too. Like I'm literally pointing out qualities that I see in you that I have. So you went through that process of like saying, okay, I'm weak in these areas. How did you go out and find those chairwomen and chairmen to bring on board, and like what did you do to get them to want to come? Because they sound like very smart people, right? Truthful people. They're not just trying to put their name behind anything. So what was it about you that pulled them in?
I would say one, I built a great business model. That was the first thing. Aside from Khalil, they might love Khalil as a person, but like if the business model or the business isn't viable, they don't see a future. They don't see that it can do good for the community. They wouldn't have attached their name to it. And again, they could love Khalil all day long, think I'm a great person, but if the business model isn't good, then they're not going to attach their name to it. And that's anybody. Right. But I networked, man. I went to different events. I was at the Ion. I was at places like the Esperson and the Cannon. I was everywhere in Greater Houston that I felt like I needed to be, and I was vocal, and I tapped into stakeholders in the community, folks that were already doing great work, that had a name for themselves, that they eventually started vouching for me. They eventually started to support me, and when I would go to rooms, they would introduce me and say, "Hey, do you know Khalil?" without me having to do it. And so that helped me get my name up. So outside of it was two things. It was the TechFest Live brand that I had already built by myself, and I didn't build it. It was there when I got into the room. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like, "Hey, I'm trying to build this thing. Do you want to help?" I had already did a lot of the sweat equity and a lot of the work. I just presented it to them on a platform. And then it was also in part that they wanted to work with Khalil. I do think hopefully I'm a decent person. I have some leadership qualities about me. Pretty humble guy, but I'm confident. I want to support the community. I want to do it in a fun and exciting way. I don't want to be necessarily, I guess, lack of a better words, boring about it. But I have my own characteristics and character traits that they respected and felt like they would take a chance on working with the young entrepreneur.
Cool. We've been bouncing around it, but tell us, what is TechFest Live, and how did you get started?
Yeah, so TechFest Live is a nonprofit educational technology organization. Our mission is to connect the youth of today to a better tomorrow through technology opportunity. TechFest Live was founded by myself in 2019. The reason why I founded TechFest Live was because I felt like we kept telling Black and Brown students we kept telling them that the world of technology is just coding and engineering. Those are foundational pieces to technology, but to me, I didn't see that as the end-all, be-all. I felt that technology has so much more to offer to our community, to communities all across the world, but we just kept giving them the same messaging. I almost felt as if, if technology was a job offer, I felt like we had 10 open positions and we were telling 10,000 students to go apply for 10 open positions. And I just felt like that's not reality. Like, every company right now is a technology company, regardless if they're a fast food chain, or if they're a major bank, or if they're a school district, or if they do community work. Like, everybody is becoming a technology company, and it's just really going to be important for us to really like understand that we're all that technology is the basis of most of these companies. So that was the foundation of creating TechFest Live. And yeah, like I said, I started in 2019, And from there, we just kind of grew, hosting events around Greater Houston, and just being able to expand and showcase to the community who we are, what we can do, and what technology can do for them, which is the main point. Is about the exposure to technology. How do we get someone to understand, like, hey, man, girl or boy, you might not make it to, a major sports league to be an athlete, but what you can do is be a data analyst for a sports team, or you don't have to necessarily be a doctor, but you can be in healthcare technology. You don't have to be a farmer, but you can be in agriculture technology. Just showing them that taking your passion and letting technology fuel that passion definitely is the way to go in this new digital age.
Right. And one thing, when you said like, you can be a data analyst for a sports team, I'm not going to say like I'm condoning or that I'm promoting like sports betting. I've done it. It's pretty fun. It can be pretty addictive, but like it could be as simple as understanding how to look at data or the analytics of how players play in matchups, right? Or understanding the dynamics of matchups to make a better bet, right? There's a lot of ways that we can leverage technology, right? So how do you what I've noticed is that most people, right, when we have this conversation about technology, it's more around consuming it, right? Like how do I go viral, or how do I create a website to make me some money? How do you push people who are coming from that consumer mindset to more of a producer mindset and saying, hey, you can actually launch a career, you can build a business that enables other people to do X? Like, how do you, and I consider you kind of at ground zero because you're literally there right after the kids develop their personalities, right? So, how are you able to take these kids and have them switch from being a consumer of tech to being a producer of tech?
Man, this particular piece of the conversation is like a rabbit hole, because man, I could take it. I could go so many different angles with it. I'm gonna start here. That consumer mindset is not just a youth thing. It actually is all of us as people. We consume more than we produce, and particularly in our community, in the Black community, we don't produce much of anything, respectfully. When you look at the music industry, when you look at sports, when you look at fashion, all of these different things, yes, we do have greats that have come and have disrupted industries and that have built their own companies and that have made ways and strides for Black people to continue to progress, and for us to be able to be where we are right now. We wouldn't be where we are right now without some of our greats in these different arenas, playing their game, how they play it, whether that be, like I said, in sports, in fashion, in music. But we don't necessarily own anything. Ice Cube's doing a great job with his sports league. He owns the big three. You know what I'm saying? Jay-Z started his own record label. I can go on and on about examples, but as a whole, as a unit, we don't own anything. We continue to be consumers when technology gives us the opportunity to produce at a level that our parents and people older than us never had the opportunity to do it until now. And so it's very important that we go from this consumer mindset of they feed us the information, they feed us what we should wear, what we should do, how we should dress, where we should buy from, and go from producing our own. That's not saying we shouldn't support others who are producing and consuming, but it's like, and I don't know all the numbers to like speak on it like fully, but I know the numbers are staggering of how much money we spend on luxury goods and how much money we spend giving money to other people's last names that are building their family's wealth. But what money are we putting back in our pockets? Like, I think there's a statistic out there, and hopefully I'm quoting it right. I think the black dollar circulates within our community only for a few days, maybe a few hours, and in different other ethnicities and in populations and communities, that same dollar might take a week for it to get out of their community. And so there's a lot of things that go into those factors, right? Socioeconomical challenges and geographical challenges, and there's a lot to talk about in that particular case. But right. For us at TechFest Live, and it's really the entrepreneurial tech mindset of teaching students like you, again, take your passion. If you really like sports, if you really like content creating, if you really like whatever it is you like, find a way to implement technology as the foundation to that. And I promise them or anyone, like, you're gonna have to put some work in, but you can really take off by implementing just technology as a whole, whether it's AI, whether it's robotics. Like it really does not matter what you want to do. I would just encourage people to find out how technology can help you do it more efficiently, more creatively, and better. That way you can keep your IP, right? You can keep your intellectual property. There's nothing wrong with buying and being a consumer. That's not what we're saying.
Right.
Definitely, that's the name of the game. You gotta buy goods and stuff, but think about how you can put some of that money back into your own pocket.
Right, right. And to add on one thing you said, right, that the consumerism, I think that's more of a product of like the Western world, right, or American society. Like we are inundated with ads, so we're always thinking and being promoted to consume, consume, consume. Like I can't tell you how many ads I get on my phone or alerts about, hey, make this bet, make this bet, make this bet. And the CEO and founder of LVMH, Louis Vuitton, he's
Hmm.
actually the wealthiest person on earth, right?
Yeah,
Which
his
is
name's like
crazy.
Bernard Arnault or something like that.
Yeah, Bernard Arnault, yeah, and family. So him and
Yep.
his relatives are his next generation. They're worth more than Jeff Bezos, and you got to think in the U.S. half of everything that's bought online is through Amazon. Everybody on earth almost online is on Facebook or Meta, right?
Yeah.
So it's crazy that
Yeah.
um, a consumer brand that sells luxury items is the most valuable company on earth. It's indicative of our consumerism, not just I think not just here in America, but just
Yeah.
internationally as well.
And it's also tricky too because Jeff Bezos is an entrepreneur, right? Bernard is an entrepreneur at some point. I can't tell you exactly how they got to their wealth. Maybe it wasn't the best, ethical. I don't know those conversations, but
Right.
I don't want to like shun them for coming up with an idea and being a boss and creating a brand and seeing that through because that's the basis of entrepreneurship. Yeah, Jeff Bezos probably didn't have it like some other people had. I think his parents were able to give him a $200,000 loan or something around those lines. But he started in his garage. Like he started at a certain point. He didn't just like I said, he might have had a loan from his parents or something. But I'm just saying he had an idea, he executed it, and now he's one of the richest men in the world. So I don't want to like necessarily bash the big corporations that have gone from that one founder. Now they built this big business. Great for him. Like that's what the American dream or that's what being an entrepreneur is all about. But I think we feed too much into that narrative that we can't produce for ourselves. You know?
Yeah, yeah. You kind of went out for a second, but I caught that. Um, yeah. So I remember we was talking about you started in 2019 and then COVID hit, so you had to switch up your strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Tell us how the pandemic impacted what you were working on, and how did you adjust to this new world that we're in today?
Man, I remember this like vividly. I wanted to do, I from the beginning. I wanted to do TechFest Live or the TechFest Expo. Well, it was TechFest Live, TechFest Expo. I wanted to do that in person at Discovery Green. Like that was my idea. Fun family games at Discovery Green in person. And then the pandemic hit, and I was like, dang, like, oh, I guess this is not happening. I had reached out to one of the, I would call her a pioneer in the technology world. Her name's Dawn Dixon. One of the first people I had reached out to about TechFest Live and just kind of what I was doing, and she gave me her insights as she was she is and was a serial entrepreneur, founded a whole bunch of companies, and was able to do well for herself. She was just like, why don't you do it online? Like, it's not an issue. Just do it online. That's what everyone's moving to. And so, between talking with her, talking with other people that I was just bouncing ideas off of, I was like, okay, let's just do it online because that's where everyone's going right now. There's no need to shut down the idea just because Plan A didn't work. And so, yeah, I just had to pivot. And that was like one of the first challenges that I ever dealt with was pivoting, having this grand idea. You're like, yeah, like I'm gonna do this, man. I'm gonna be at Discovery Green. Everybody gonna be out there, and then like the world's shutting down. And you're like, oh, okay, well, this is the first challenge. What you gonna do? Are you just gonna okay now? TechFest Live is no longer. We can't do it in person. No, it was a challenge. We found a solution, and now because of that, we're back in person. And but because I didn't give up and I just didn't say, oh, I can't do it in person. Now I can look back and be like, man, if I wouldn't have done that event virtually in 2020 or in 2021, I wouldn't have none of this momentum that I have now. So definitely, the pandemic was a challenge. You also asked me about just how was it for me in the business as well. It was probably the best thing that could have happened. Like the world got to sit with themselves, and I don't think people were like sitting with themselves and that self awareness and that self reflection and like I'll try to avoid like the negative stuff, but when you are on the go 9 to 5, you got family, and I don't not myself as far as like kids and things, but just in general for people, you have family, you have spouses, you have kids, you have all these different things that are going on that are going on in your personal world. And when all that ceases, you get to really evaluate, how's my life at home? How are my habits? I don't really read, man. I don't really work out. I don't have no hobbies. Like people were discovering things about themselves that they just didn't have the time to discover. And I feel like the pandemic gave everyone an opportunity to get a glimpse of financial freedom, I would say. I know it was tough times for people, and like we were getting government assistance, people were getting PPP loans and all this stuff. But I think that mindset of freedom, time freedom, and you could wake up and literally, if you wanted to go run 2 miles, you could do that. If you wanted to wake up and read a book, you could do that. Or if you want to sleep in all day and play video games, you could do that too. Or if you want to create you a business, you were able to do that as well. And so it just gave myself self-reflection time to really like think, okay, what do I want to do? I got time on my hand. Do I want to become a scholar and go back to, like, it was just a great time to if you took it as a positive for all the negative that was going on, you probably are in a better position now than if the pandemic didn't happen. Like imagine if the pandemic didn't happen. And I know there's a lot of individuals across the world that lost their lives, and definitely prayers go out to them. People still affected by that. But imagine if the pandemic didn't happen. There would be so many businesses that wouldn't have been started. So many ideas. Like I literally have ideas that only happened because of the pandemic. I have people that I met only happened because of the pandemic, and it's just crazy that we all experienced that around the world. I mean, in my lifetime, I haven't been a part of an event where we all, like, around the world experienced the same. Like, imagine that. We all experienced the same thing at the same time. No one was really exempt from the pandemic. And so it was a gift and a curse for sure.
Right. So yeah, you talked about the pandemic, how you got like different ideas and stuff, how you would have never been able to come up with those ideas, and it forced the world to pretty much sit and like really like work on self development. Did you ever like leverage Clubhouse during that process of pivoting TechFest Live?
Yeah, no, I didn't leverage it. I just was a consumer of Clubhouse, but I didn't leverage Clubhouse at the time. I would have if I was where I was. If I'm where I am now, I probably would have. But at the time, no, I just hopped on. Like it was so much going on in Clubhouse. Like so many different rooms you could be in. Like I was definitely trying to make sure I'm in the educational in the educational uplifting rooms. But no, I was really just a part of the movement that was Clubhouse. But I didn't really leverage it at all.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, I met some really interesting people, during Clubhouse. Like some people that I even, talked to this day, and it was kind of crazy to see how like Clubhouse came out of nowhere and all of a sudden had a $1 billion valuation.
Yeah, even things like Clubhouse and Versus, having the Versus, and then the Instagram lives were really like people were doing a lot of Instagram lives, and like D Nice was doing his DJ stuff. Like people just got creative and made money out of the pandemic from being creative. They're sitting in the house like, I'm not just gonna sit around and do nothing, and they found a way to monetize it. Like those are smart and bright individuals, you know.
Right, right. Um, so yeah, so you mentioned that when we was talking previously that so you go through the pandemic, you're here now. Um, Tell us about some of those, like, I guess, breakout moments for you where you started to see things go to another level.
The breakout moments. It was just that my breakout moments have been the execution of my events so far, honestly. So, you know,
Mm,
the 50 students, the first year we did the virtual, then the 90 students, and then in 2022, when we successfully hosted our first in-person event at the Ion for 400 students, like that was a breakout moment because leading up to that event, I still had to prove to myself and to my sponsors in the community that we can pull this off, we can execute and pull this off. So I actually, when I put on these expos, man, like I actually look at it as if like I'm rolling out an album. I'm a big music fan, and so like I take it like that type of personally, and I want to put out the best album that I can, right? From the mixing and the editing to the features to the cover art to the promotion of it. Like that's how I kind of like framework it in my mind. And so, somebody could be working on an album for a year or an album for 6 months or 2 years. And so all of my projects or my expos or some of the programming that we do in earlier times, I was looking at it as if it was an album rollout. And how do I put the best product and the best sound out there from the type of sponsors that we have to the nonprofit and for-profit startups that we're working with to the universities that we bring on. Like, how do I piece all of this together and put together one sound piece of content for people to consume?
yeah, yeah. I like how you said you treat it like an album release. What what aspects of when someone's releasing the album that you've seen that you actually integrate into your strategy with your event planning?
I would say like, so I think everything for me with that is analogies, right? So for me, features on an album are who I get to sponsor the event because those also makes the album, right? Yeah, you can do a whole album by yourself. I think J. Cole did triple platinum, no features. You could do that, or you could have a great album with other people featured on your album. And so my features would be sponsors. Like, can I go out and get a Citgo or a UL Research Institute or a Microsoft or a JP Morgan? Can I go out and get these sponsors to be a part of my organization, be a part of the community building, be a part of scaling educational technology across the city of Houston and city to city and state to state? So I was looking at it from that lens, and then also just like the content, right? Is there a superficial messaging? Are we only, what's our messaging? What are we trying to get across to people? And can we actually connect that message? And can they understand that when we're promoting TechFest Expo, when we're promoting educational technology, um, can I confidently and accurately get that message across to my audience? So that was another big thing for me as well that I saw with how people do their music and do album rollouts. Um, those are kind of the few that I would say that I would like kind of like in parallel, just kind of looking at it. And it for me, it's not like that's not my full strategy. Like I don't just like, oh, it has to be like an album, but I do like music, and so that's something that it helped me to attach it to something like that I could understand, and it helped me. But it's not like our full blown strategy. Like everything we do is trying to be an album rollout, but creatively, it definitely has helped me kind of plan and figure out how I want to do things.
Got it, got it. Yeah, so you mentioned that the albums, like albums and stuff, release schedules, and you mentioned J. Cole. Is there like particular albums that stand out to you the way they were released in the marketing campaign around, and you're like, hey, I want to make sure I do that whenever I'm doing my events? It's kind of like a piggyback on the last question that I had. Are there like particular albums? that
You
you
know,
seen?
actually not really, because I was it was just it was really just me as a fan of music appreciating how people roll out albums, and I just took it from there. I didn't really go all the way in depth and like really analyzing, um hey, they did this particular thing. When I'm looking at that, I'm more so look at like corporations and how they do their commercials and like those type of things, for my industry. So I would say no, but like one that I can think back on that I do remember, but this was way before I had my organization, was when Jay-Z did when he dropped Magna Carta Holy Grail, and he did the thing with Samsung, I believe, and he like broke the internet. Like that whole technology piece and like using a big brand to help do a rollout. Like eventually, I would love to be able to get to that point where I can utilize and leverage big brands and media and consumer electronic companies and things like that to put together cool marketing plans to do rollouts. We're gonna get there. We're not there yet. I'm still, creative director behind all of this for the most part, but um, I don't necessarily have a particular album that I was just like, man, like I'm taking this and I'm using it. More so for me is I might see a commercial like, was that yesterday? No, that was Sunday. During the playoffs, the Wolves and Nuggets game, a commercial for the Boys and Girls Club had came on, and I'm like, oh, this is crazy. Like I'm about to do a summer program with the Boys and Girls Club. So that was my first time seeing their commercials on national TV. I don't want to mess up what the slogan said, but it's something along the lines of, greater start tier or something like that. And
Right.
so I was like, man, like I'm literally about to do a 8-week summer program with them. Look at how they're marketing right during the playoffs. Like that sparked, okay, now I need to do a commercial style. It gave me ideas from a media standpoint.
Right, right. So when you're doing an event, walk us through how that experience for the kids are, and like I guess for the adults who are there, right? Like what is that? What do you have the kids doing when they're at an event?
So the goal of the expo is to be an experience. So we want students to come to the expo and feel like it's a deep dive into the world of technology. We want to give them options. We want them to be able to, see what the agriculture world of technology looks like, or see what the aerospace world of technology, or the healthcare, or the sports or the gaming. And so really just giving them variety and giving them different installments and um, again, different opportunities to be able to kind of get a hands-on, 30,000-foot view of what does technology look like in these particular industries. We have speaker panels, we have vendor areas, we have vendors, we have, companies brands that they might be aware of, or brands that they may not be aware of. We have universities there to showcase to them, hey, this is what we're doing at our 4 year or 2 university when it comes to technology. These are programs that we have in place that you can come and get an education and learn and grow and eventually become an alumni of our program.
That's dope, dope. So how important would you say parents are in getting their kids involved in technology?
Instrumental. They're instrumental in a lot of different ways. A few of those ways are, one, just listening. I think a lot of parents who are not in the tech world or who aren't tech savvy, just listening to your kids, and they do know some stuff about the world of technology. Like that's their world. Like that's how they grew up. So just listening and understanding, like they probably do know a little bit more than you, and taking what they say, and it's like, hey, he or she is pretty smart and capable of figuring some things out with technology. I would also say technology is ageless, man. Like my target audience right now is middle school and high school students, because I feel like, one, when I was in high school, I wish I had a organization like Tech Fest Live where I could have went to an expo and learned about the different world, the world of technology from a different lens. But technology is ageless. There's industry professionals that come to the Tech Fest Expo and get the same out of it that a middle school or high school would do, because technology it's not an age thing. I keep saying it's not ages, right? The messaging may go over someone's head, right? It might be you can speak at a very high level where a sixth grader may not get it, but you can also speak at a level where everyone understands it. So you'll find that at this year's expo, we're going to have a lot of industry professionals, a lot of Cup of Joy supporters, a lot of staples in the Houston tech ecosystem are going to be at the Tech Fest Expo because technology has no age limit. Anyone can learn from a young person to a more seasoned person. Anyone can learn about technology, which is why it's a beautiful thing. It's a generation connector. I can have a mentor who's 30 years older than me, or I could be mentoring someone who's 15 years younger than me, but we can all be learning something about technology because it spans all generations. So that's the beautiful thing about it. Um, and what else for parents? Yeah, I would just say like I also created Tech Fest Live so that parents could find other resources. So, we don't create curriculum. We're the platform, we're the bridge to the possibilities here in the city of Houston, right? So if a parent comes and bring their child to Tech Fest Live, what you're going to find are other community organizations that you can join your child and sign up for. Other community partners that we've worked with, like Supergirl Shine and Built and all these different organizations, and I can name a ton. So apologies to those I haven't named, but
Mhm.
like that's what we do. We want to invite all of those groups and people to be a part so that okay, yes, this is Tech Fest Live. This is the expo. Now go see who's doing something in agriculture tech. Oh, you want your child to be in healthcare? Hey, this company has a summer program in healthcare technology. Go check them out. Oh, this organization's here. Hey, this university all the way in New York is doing something on agriculture technology. Go check them out. That's the goal, and that's why we encourage parents to come to Tech Fest Live. We encourage them to bring their students so that they can also learn and adapt as well.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. So you name some of the organizations. We definitely want to. I want to say as much as you know about them. But you said the Supergirls Up or something like that.
Yeah, so Supergirl Shine,
Supergirls. Yeah.
yeah, Miss Loretta is the founder and CEO of Supergirl Shine. They are housed out of the Ion. They focus on working with young women, getting them ready and exposed to the business world, the world of technology. They do a really great job. They have summer programming and a lot of great opportunities for our young women here in Houston and beyond. I'm just trying to go down the list. There's organizations like Black Girls Do Engineer with Cara, and I'm trying not to say last name so I don't mess up and forget people's last names, but she's doing an amazing job. She's traveling all around the United States doing a lot of work with her organization. She's an engineer herself, doing a lot of great work. Margot Jordan with and Richly. I mean, Margot's someone that I look up to. Like she's out in Dubai doing big things like with the UAE, and I'm just like, man, like I would love to one day be in that position. And so she's doing a lot of great things. There's organizations like Reading with the Rapper. Like I'm sporting a premium goods collaboration with Reading with the Rapper. They have this pin, so that's their logo. This is the I think this is the peanut butter and jelly hat that they did collaboration with Premium Goods. And so Reading with the Rapper is a very important staple for the city of Houston. But they've worked with almost, I believe, 100,000 plus kids already over the last 13 years about digital literacy. One of the founders and CEO of Reading with the Rapper is Jaron Small. And what Jaron has always told me is like, what you're doing is great, man, but just also remember if these kids can't read and write, they can't do anything. So his program is focused on digital literacy and how do we get our community and how do we get our students to be able to read and write at the very basis. And so what he's doing is great. There's an organization called Built Blacks United in Leading Technology, and that has chapters all across America, and also some other countries as well. And that their focus is getting adults into the world of technology who have now kind of transitioned. They may have left a certain industry and now they want to get into the world of technology. So yeah, I could go on and again, there's a countless a number of other organizations that are doing great work. Um, I'll shout out one more person, my friend Ryan with Community. He's out of Atlanta, but he started the United States or the first HBCU gaming league in Atlanta. Now they moved to a bunch of different cities. He's doing work with a lot of big brands, and so I got a chance to meet him through a mentor and Miss Kim, who runs Purposeful Brands. She does some work with Travis Scott and does a lot of work in the Houston community. And so it's just networking, man. Again, it's just networking and calling these people friends and allies and mentors and being able to ask them for advice and also support them. Like I love that I can one remember what they do. That means they're doing great work, and I get an opportunity for you to be interviewing me about myself and my company. But I don't mind shouting out and letting people, your audience, and when I post this and letting people know, hey, these are friends, these are fellow business men and women in the community that are doing great things. That's the beauty about this space that we're in this ed tech and technology spaces. There is enough to go around. There's
Right.
enough sponsors, there's enough students to serve, there's not enough events to have. Like there's not really, I don't really see competition, and there isn't competition because we're all doing God's work, we're all doing great work. And so when you're doing that, like you're always going to be blessed and have opportunity because you're doing great work. And so it's an honor to be able to shout them out and let people know what they got going on.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so how do you go about finding like alignment with these different organizations, right? Where you're not forcing the partnership. Like what are some things you look for when you're looking for to partner with or to work with, similar nonprofits or companies in general?
Yeah, you cannot find alignment unless you are aligned yourself, right? So I can't align with any of these organizations until I know what it is that I do and what I don't do. And I think I kind of talked about that strength and weaknesses earlier, but you can't like you almost always can tell when the conversation is going to go from a partnership to someone just trying to be nosy and see what you're doing, or they don't really have it all together. Like they may not have it all. And you can sense that because you're confident in what you do. And so if sometimes people are just fishing for your information, they don't really have much to bring to the table. They're just trying to figure out what it is that you do and attach themselves to it. Those are individuals that you want to look out for. But if you know your mission, you know what you do to a T when you before you even get to the meeting, then that's when the collaboration starts happening because you're not worried about what like if I take a meeting with Jaron, I'm not worried about what Jaron necessarily respectfully is doing with his organization. I know he's doing great things and I know I'm doing great things. So I'm not trying to base the conversation about off of what Jaron is doing. I'm basing the conversation of what I want TechFest Live to do and the partnerships that I feel like will align with us. And so when he starts saying, "Oh, we're doing X, Y, Z," in my mind, I already know what we're doing. So I might know in 2 weeks we have something coming up with the Boys and Girls Club. We have something going on next month with this, and now I can make that connection. Like, oh, he's doing okay. I'm gonna do this. Now let's line it up. But yeah, you have to you gotta to do great partnerships, you gotta know what you bring to the table before you try to like just go in and have nothing. You see it all the time, and it's not just in this space, it's in everything. Like people don't have things that they bring to the table and they just kind of halfway they're not fully in. They may be 1 foot out, 1 foot in, and you can tell, especially if you've been doing this a while and you're confident in yourself, you can tell when someone is not, they don't understand, you know?
Yeah, yeah. You said something funny, and you said you could tell when someone's uh just snooping around or just trying to like be nosy. Like, what are
Mhm.
the telltale signs that someone's doing that?
Telltale signs.
Yeah. And you don't have to
Um,
don't call anybody out by name, but I've had
mhm.
that happen to me before as well. So
Uh, it's just a feeling, man. They like I don't know, like just fully telltale signs. I would say maybe um they're just not asking the right questions. They're not asking the right questions, and when it's their time to speak, you can tell a lot about how someone speaks. Like, do they speak confidently about their business? Are they rambling? Are they not are they not answering your questions, right? Are they asking you stuff that they should have looked up before they got to the meeting, right? That's also a thing. Like I try my best to, if I'm gonna meet with someone, I should know a little bit. I should go to their LinkedIn and do some scouting. I should go to their website and see if any of their objectives match up with my objectives so that they know that I read their website. I'm not going to tell them, hey, by the way, I went to your website. But I will say, so I see that your company focuses on X, Y, and Z. TechFest Live also, our mission also aligns with some of those key objectives that you got to, and that's those type of statements right there will let them know that you are listening, that you are paying attention, that you're serious. It's really about the serious factor. Like, people are going to do the necessary work that no one has asked them to do if they're serious. But if they're not going to be willing to do that extra work. They're not going to go to your website and check it out and make sure they know who you are, what you do before they meet with you. So that's sometimes how you can tell. Now, again, I'm not the most seasoned person. I got a lot more work to do. So those are just some of the things that I'm seeing. And it's just funny when you catch it because you're like, man, like I'm probably gonna be dealing with this for a while as you continue to grow. Like it's just this is the nature of just like humans and like in networking. Like it's bound to happen. So it's just funny when you do catch it because you're like maybe 4 years ago I wouldn't have even I would have I would have taken that meeting. Right now I know when to say no and I know when to say yes.
Mm. So how do you say no to someone who wants to meet with you? And you're like, how do you say it like in a respectful way where they don't take it personal?
You have to challenge why they want to meet with you,
Mm.
and like it's not making, it's definitely not making someone beg to meet with you, but it's challenging their reasoning for wanting to meet with you. And it's also being upfront and saying, well, we don't really do that. Oh, that's not really in my wheelhouse. I can connect you with somebody, and I'm still working on that. Saying no is very important. It's hard for me because I feel like I'm somewhat of a people pleaser. Like I don't want to have a bad rap about myself to anybody. So it's just like kind of wanting, like I don't want to say no and you like go be like, well, it was this like asshole who didn't want to, but like no, I just like I just wanted to say no, man. But I would just say challenging their reasoning for wanting to meet with you. But I am in a position where I don't think I should be turning down meeting with anybody, like unless it just doesn't align. But for the most part, right now, where I'm at in my journey, I'm going to probably meet with everybody because I never know. Now, as I get busier, we got resources under our belt. We got you know 5 year sponsors who are really locked in with us, then I might not be meeting with everyone. But right now, like as I'm growing this, like I would encourage everyone, like talk to as many people as you can. It's a numbers game. If I'm trying to get sponsorship from organizations or donations and I only reach out to 10 people, I might get zero responses. If I reach out to 100, I might get 10 responses. If I reach out to 500 people, I might get 70 responses. It may take me 500 times to get 70, but that is the name of the game. It's a numbers game. You have to be willing to get 50 yeses in a row and then another 50, I'm sorry, 50 no's in a row and another 50 no's until you get that 101 yes. And then you're like, oh, wow, got my yes. But it took you 100 people to tell you no. Are you going to stop at 75? Are you going to stop at 99? So that's why I would say try to meet with everybody. But as you get busier, you just don't got time. And that was
Mm.
something that I realized is that I used to get in my feelings when I first started, this business because I would email people and they would meet with me and say, hey, I'll email you back or I'll get back to you. They would not get back to me. And I'm like, dang, like what did I do? And then as I grew more, I realized it wasn't personal. They were just busy. Like sometimes like and you gotta be I just had a meeting with someone the other day. He's like, you gotta be professionally patient. And that has saved me a lot. I might talk to someone who could be a potential sponsor and they may say, hey, I'll get back to you. And it's been 3 months, 2 months. And if I don't be, what did I just say? If I don't be patient, professionally patient, I um I might mess that deal up. I might mess that relationship because I didn't give them the proper. They might be trying to do a $2 million project. They may be trying to secure something on their end, and so like you can't think that you're the only person. Which happens when you're an entrepreneur. You think you're the only person on these people's mind that all they're thinking about is you, and like they have a million other things that they got to do. So yeah, it's this is it's interesting, man. It's fun. It's exciting. Um, I enjoy waking up. doing this, like I don't have to think about it. I don't have to. No one has to, to hey, get up and do what you need to do. Like I enjoy taking meetings and executing and getting stuff done. Like that's the basis, basically what I do. I wake up, I connect with people, I take meetings, I execute, I get things done. We set deadlines, we meet expectations. Like that is enjoyable to me, no matter what it is. It could be hosting a summer camp, it could be calling a vendor. Like I just enjoy doing that, and so to me, it's super fun.
Yeah, yeah. There's a couple things you said that how you tell people no respectfully. But I've had people like approach me for advice or help them on something, and I'll say, well, you do these one, two things, then get back to me. And what I
Hmm.
found is that has like saved me like so much time. Um, because if they're not willing to do the advice that I gave them for free,
Hmm.
there's nothing else that I can do to really help them, right? It's like the old adage, you can take a horse to water, but it's up to them to drink. So
Yeah.
cool. Got you. Um, so yeah, so what was my next question? So how do we change this connotation when we're looking at kids, right, around a nerd, right? Like I know growing up being a nerd was like it's like being lame, like yo, you're a
Hmm.
nerd, like Steve Urkel, right?
Yeah.
Like, but how do we change this connotation with a nerd being good to the youth?
Yeah, it's folks like Khalil Vinson and your last name is Harris?
Yeah,
Corey and Corey Harris and the other people that I mentioned. It's
Corey
us.
but either or.
It's definitely Corey Stay Trapping. Like being able to show them who we are, right? And show them like you can be positive influences, you can have friends, you can be cool, you can be likable, you can have a presence on Instagram, you can love hip hop music, you can love culture and fashion and all these different things, but you can also be smart. There's nothing wrong with being smart. Like why did we in high school look at the people that were smart as like weird? Like why is being smart weird? Like that I know information, you're gonna tell me I'm not cool because I know. I think that's the coolest thing to do is to be knowledgeable at this point. Now I definitely wasn't thinking like that maybe in high school, but now that I've gotten older, you're like, I wish I was smarter and more educated and more aware back then because I probably would have been started a business, right? And so I think it's just it starts with the older generations, right? We need to show them that the real millionaires, the ones with money, the ones who have nice houses and nice things, and there's nothing wrong with having nice things and things that you can afford. Having all those things comes from being smart. It comes from being knowledgeable. It doesn't come from being in the streets. It doesn't come from, taking pathways that are not conducive to bettering yourself as an individual. There's nothing wrong with having a passion for, music, but using it for your benefit to learn and progress and grow. There's nothing wrong with being a rapper. There's nothing wrong with being an athlete. But we have to stop. We have to stop. You know, kind of promoting that having knowledge and being knowledgeable about something makes you a nerd. It doesn't make you a nerd. It actually might make you rich. You know, it might make you successful. It might make you a great human being. It might make you a better father, a better brother, a son, a daughter, mother. Like it might actually do good for you as a human being smart. Like why would we want to promote being ignorant or dumb or not knowing? It doesn't, it's very counterproductive. Like you should want to be smart. Like don't let nobody be like, oh, well, he studies too much. Like I think I should be studying. Like there's nothing wrong with studying. Nothing wrong with getting good grades. There's nothing wrong with making computers or do whatever it is that you have a passion for. There's nothing wrong with it. Like, and the faster that these young people can understand that, man, the faster we will continue to progress as a community, as a unit. Because we have the potential. Like we own culture. We are culture, and I think a lot of times we just give it out too much because of our lack of information. If we knew how much if we knew how much data and how much influence and all these things that we have, we'd be trying to retain it a lot more instead of giving it out. Hopefully that talk enough about. But yeah, the whole nerd thing, like I think I was telling you about cool nerd or cool black nerd, whichever one I decide to go with. But it's just about tearing down that stigma of what is a nerd, what is truly a nerd. Because I deem myself as a nerd, right? I'm a cool black nerd. Um, I want to I want students and kids and people to look up to me like, oh, that's what a nerd is. It's not what I thought it was. It's not suspenders. It's not Steve Urkel. And the glasses thing, like if I could wear glasses, I would. 'Cause like people do the whole, oh, you wear glasses, like you must be smart. Like sometimes people just may not be able to see. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they might have you might be
I see.
nearsighted or farsighted, So like I don't
Yeah.
know, like that part is a little funnier part about it, but it's really just getting them to understand that there's nothing wrong with being educated. There's nothing wrong with having information. Information will take you far in life. It'll make you successful. It'll make you a better person. And so that's really the message that I want to push. Kind of like an overarching message is so it's okay to be knowledgeable, and that's the whole basis of this expo that we're doing um, uh, on National STEM Day this year, November 8th at the University of Houston. Is come get knowledgeable about whatever your passions are. Come get knowledgeable about the healthcare industry, about sports, about gaming. Come get knowledgeable about agriculture, about aviation, about aerospace. Come get knowledgeable about what's going on in your city, in your backyard. Who are the representatives who are pushing tech legislation? What is the city of Houston doing in the world of technology? What's going on in the nonprofit space? What summer programs can you enroll in? What technical trade schools have technology opportunities for you? You can come to the Tech Fest Expo this year at the University of Houston Tech Bridge, Friday, November 8th for National STEM Day for 8 a.m. to from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's a free event. You can come to that event and learn all you want to learn about the world of technology.
Right. Love it. Love it. Well, we gonna end it there. I know you got some meetings to run too. Hey man, thanks for this opportunity. I definitely enjoyed the conversation.
Most
Um,
definitely.
and is there anything else you wanna pub before we end it?
We do have a golf tournament coming up September 12th at Black Horse. We'd love for golfers and golf enthusiasts and advocates and supporters of the sport to come out and join us and be a part of that golf tournament. You can find us at fortheyouth.org. That's on LinkedIn and a website. Yeah, we love to get more participants and sponsors and individuals to just be a part of that golf tournament. We're feeding y'all breakfast and lunch. There's an open bar after the event for an hour, so it's going to be a great time. It's our second annual event. The only thing other, I guess, is we just got to make sure we stay trapping, right, and continue to talk about these important issues. So I appreciate you, brother, for what you're doing and the platform that you have. And so it's an honor to be on the talk and talk with you, kind of just chop it up and get a better idea of who I am. And so I appreciate your time.
Yeah, yeah, no problem. And we're gonna have links at the bottom as well. So we're gonna end it here. Thanks y'all for joining. This is Corey Stay Trapping with Trap Talks, where we discuss the intersection of culture and tech. My guy Khalil Vinson, founder and CEO of Tech Fest Live. Keep pushing, and yeah, man, H
Yes,
Town.
sir. Let's do it. Appreciate you, man.
All right,
All right. Peace.
yeah.